this is about industrial scale abuse by older men of young girls, and the only person in jail is a woman, that is clearly, a little bit odd. Where are all the other perpetrators of this? I get it. I don't know whether trickling out these names, which, by the way, doesn't mean all of those names we just mentioned are people guilty of anything. I don't know where it takes us. I genuinely don't know where this now goes, other than people looking at it. And if you look at social media today, if ever there was a great argument for banning social media, it was the amount of mischief and hyperbole around this, exaggeration and invention, was off the scale today.
Yeah, well, where can you go with it? What I would say is that the fact is Epstein was arrested in 2005 for soliciting a 14-year-old girl for sex. So for me, anyone who was then in his circle...
And went to jail.
And went to jail. Anyone who's in his circle from that time onwards should be looked upon with some kind of contempt. Doesn't mean that they're rapists or paedophiles, but why would you hang around with someone who you know is a convicted paedophile? That is suspicious. Stephen Hawking went there in 2006, a year after the guy's been arrested. That, for me, means Stephen Hawking, God rest his soul, should be looked on suspiciously. With Bill Clinton, the only guaranteed date we have is January 2003, when he went without his official assistance and everything else. But that was 2 years before Epstein was arrested. The fact Ghislaine Maxwell could end this all now and come out and tell us the names, I suspect she won't, because maybe she's scared she'll end up how Epstein ended up. But as you say, the fact that we've got lots of women who say that they were trafficked, raped, sexually assaulted as young girls, and we have a huge list of names, some people who were there on business, some people who perhaps weren't there on business. Ghislaine Maxwell is the only person now alive still who can come out and say, OK, these are the names from the Black Book of the people who were on that island having sex with girls.
But why has nobody literally named names? Why has nobody said, right, OK, I am one of the victims, and this is the high-profile politician?
I think they might not even have known. I mean, if you're a 14-year-old girl, you probably don't know whatever famous person you're being trafficked to, at least by their actual name, because they do realise that there's a risk associated with...
There would be a body of evidence.
Well, but yes, but I think JJ is right. The only people that would actually know for sure who was there and engaging in these disgusting acts were Ghislaine Maxwell and the now deceased Jeffrey Epstein. What I am curious about, though, is why the New York judge ordered for these documents to be released, because now it's a giant gossip fest. Usually when judges order for documents to be released, the case is made that it's in the public's interest. Well, what is in the public's interest of knowing that Naomi Campbell and David Copperfield and all these people had met Jeffrey Epstein? Newsflash, he'd met virtually anyone that was anyone. I mean, it's just turned this tragic story into a giant gossip fest. And the important point is this issue is, well, the story has come about because it's now released names of anyone associated with Jeffrey Epstein as opposed to convicted of criminal behaviour. And I think it's important to make that distinction, because at that point, it's not in the public's interest at all.
But I think it does call in, I think, as JJ kind of indicated, it does call into question the judgment of people like Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, who should have known better. You know, it's not as though Epstein was had an unsullied reputation. From 2005, it was known to be criminally a wrong un, and even before that. So, I mean, you know, what kind of royal and political secrets have they been giving away while they're sitting around their whiskey and their cigars?
I mean, I think this is as much about money as anything else, isn't it? Because very, very wealthy people with very opulent lifestyles and fabulous things to give away do attract a huge following. And, you know, people are prepared to overlook a lot to be invited to parties, to get a special invitation for a weekend at one of these fancy properties, having a very luxurious time. And I think that's, for the vast majority of people who were named as associates, that will be all it was about.
Absolutely.
You know, for me, look, you asked the question at the beginning, where does this go? I don't think it goes anywhere. I think there are a significant number of then young girls, now grown up, who are quite naturally still seeking justice for what happened to them. What happened to them was unbelievable. Ghislaine Maxwell, as a woman, it's so hard to imagine how she could possibly have been at the heart of this. But where does it go from the point of view of us here in the UK? I don't really think it goes anywhere, except that all those people named will now forevermore be liable to, on the internet or in news coverage, say so-and-so who is linked or has been linked to Jeffrey Epstein.
And their families as well. I mean, Jimmy Kimmel in the States